So recently I decided to put myself back out there. And how did I go about doing that? I went back on Hinge. Okay, I got back on Hinge, Tinder, and Bumble. I got back on all three of the dating apps for one to compare which app was the best, which in my experience, Hinge was unequivocally the best. And I can get into that in another video, but Hinge was the best app, so I decided to stick to Hinge. Okay, now on Hinge, I ended up meeting multiple women. Okay, I think I met 4 women on Hinge and 1 on Bumble. And basically, I was talking to 5 girls at one time. Now, in the past, I probably wouldn't have done this because I had different perceptions about exclusivity. But what I realized over time is that until you have that conversation about exclusivity, there's no reason to fully invest yourself in one girl. So I was talking to 5 different girls at one time. And I'm sure that all of them were talking to at least 5 different dudes at the same time. And I didn't have anything against them for that. Nevertheless, I was talking to 5 different girls at one time, and they all ghosted me. All 5 of them ghosted me. But get this, they all ghosted me within the span of 36 to 48 hours. I'm talking about on a Friday, I was talking to 5 girls, and by that following Monday, I was talking to 0 girls. And in the past, had this happened, I probably would have been very, very resentful. I would have been devastated, if anything, because I would have taken it personally. I would have taken it as an indictment on my personal character. But what I've learned is that it has less to do with me and more to do with the general dating economy and people's lack of self-love. Now, I'm not discounting my personal accountability. I'm sure that there are things that I could have done better. Some of the girls I just wasn't compatible with to begin with. I understand that. But to get ghosted by 5 girls at one time, I've learned to look for the silver lining in every single situation. Okay, and for a while, I kind of denied the things that I'm about to tell you in this video. But what I've learned by observing other people's experiences is that I was right. Okay, my initial gut feeling was right. Hypergamy is a lie. Or better yet, hypergamy is much more nuanced than red pill YouTubers would like you to believe. Because you have to understand, hypergamy is founded on the notion that women are logical, when that cannot be further from the truth. Women are emotional creatures, by and large. That's not to say that women aren't capable of utilizing logic in their day-to-day lives. Just like me as a man, I'm capable of tapping into my emotions at any given time to write a book, for example. Okay, I can tap into my emotions, women can tap into logic. But understand that hypergamy is not as simple as women actively seeking out men with higher status or more money or better looks or anything like that. Okay, I learned that the hard way when I got ghosted by 5 girls at one time. Now, here's what I've learned, okay, in my experiences putting myself back out there into the dating market. What I've learned is that just because you are elevating yourself does not mean that the pool of women gets bigger. That is the biggest misconception that you have been led to believe by the red pill community or by the manosphere in general, is that when you level up, the dating pool gets bigger. That is a lie. For one, because as you level up, your self-worth increases. You're less tolerant of certain types of women because you know that you can do better. And when you know that you can do better, you don't tolerate bullshit. So in my experience, there's women that I cut off because they were on some bullshit. Whereas in the past, maybe at 19 years old when I was working at H&M, I might not have had that option because I wouldn't have had access to the dating pool that I have. And I know that sounds contradictory to what I just said, but in other words, you automatically exclude women from the dating pool because they don't meet your standards. You have higher standards for them because you have high standards for yourself. It's just the nature of life. It's the nature of elevation, right? So for example, if you're 25 years old and you're making 6 figures and you're just doing exceptionally well for your age, why would you want to date a 19-year-old retail worker? It doesn't make sense. When you get to a certain level in life, you want to be surrounded by people who are also either at that level, striving to get to that level, or who have passed that level. And women are no exception. Okay, now they could reach that level in whatever way they see fit for themselves. I'm not saying that someone like me would necessarily need to be with another YouTuber with 127,000 subscribers, but generally speaking, I want to be with a woman who is passionate about what she does. And that right there eliminates about 99% of women. And I'd imagine that it's the same for women looking for men. A lot of people these days, especially in my age range in their early 20s, are not doing what they love to do. And when you do what you love to do on a day-to-day basis, You realize that you don't want to be surrounded by people who aren't doing what they love to do on a day-to-day basis, because all they're going to do is complain. They're going to project their insecurities onto you. Okay, and this is also why women tend to disqualify me. Okay, and obviously I'm working with purely hypotheticals here, but this is just my observation, my personal observation and my experiences. Because when you get ghosted by 5 women in a span of 48 hours, you start asking yourself certain questions, such as, how did this happen? Why did this happen? If I'm at the top of my game in all aspects of life, especially confidence, how is it possible that I'm having less success than I did when I first started dating at 19, before I had ever even kissed a girl for the first time? How is it possible? The reason why is because women are not ready for what they think they want. And like I said, this goes both ways, but the vast majority of my audience is male. So I'm talking mostly about women in this video because that's who most of you will be dealing with. Okay, modern women. A lot of modern women don't actually want what they think that they want or what they say that they want. They say that they want a successful man, but they don't necessarily want what comes with that. Okay, because they don't believe that they're worthy of it. They believe that because this man is single, there must be something wrong with him. When in reality, I'm only single because I've been focusing on my purpose. That's how I got to where I am. That's why I had to let go of my last relationship, which was a great relationship, by the way, but ultimately I prioritized my purpose first, and I don't regret it. But what I'm learning is that when you prioritize your purpose, that doesn't necessarily mean that women are going to start flocking towards you. Okay, and they may on the surface seem like they're flocking towards you, but the moment that you let them in, they begin to pull back. They begin to pull back because they don't believe that they're worthy. They subconsciously diminish their own self-worth in comparison to you. You intimidate them. You intimidate them not just because you're doing well externally, but because you have a certain confidence about yourself that lets them know early on that you cannot be manipulated. A girl cannot manipulate me. She can't play games with me because I'm willing to walk away. A girl knows deep down that I can probably do better than her, right? And I'm not saying this to downplay any of the women that I've been talking to because they're all great women. Okay, I have nothing bad to say about any of them. It just didn't work out. But this taught me a lesson about women in general, okay, especially modern women, that just because you get to that level where you think that women are going to suddenly start flowing into your life, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to find a fulfilling and sustainable relationship because of that. Okay, like I said, the pool of women got bigger, but through process of elimination on my end and insecurities on their end, suddenly that pool became zero. The pool became absolutely zero. And I'm saying this to say that you need to do self-improvement for yourself. You need to focus on your purpose for you, not for women. Just because you get to that level where you have a little bit of money, you got your own place, you got you a new car, you got nice clothes, you're confident, you're well-spoken, you can maintain eye contact, things like that, that doesn't necessarily mean that women are just going to flock to you. I'm going to give you a real-life example of something that happened to me on a date that I went on recently. Okay, I shit you not. This date was absolutely amazing, by the way. The date went just about as perfectly as I could have envisioned in my mind. I went on this date with this girl. Things went absolutely amazing. And on the date, there was a point where we were just sitting there watching the cars pass by, and it got silent, it got quiet. And suddenly she asked me, "What's your vice? Do you smoke? Do you drink? What's wrong with you? There has to be something wrong with you." Basically insinuating that I'm too good to be true. But I'm not. I'm literally just as advertised. If you look at my YouTube channel, if you meet me in real life, I'm the same person. Okay, I am the same person. I am on my shit. Simply put, I am on my shit. And that's not to say that she wasn't on her shit, mind you. This girl's an engineer. She's doing well for herself as well. So I was actually pretty astonished that this would happen to her as well, that she would feel intimidated or insecure to the extent that she felt the need to ask me what was wrong with me. Because that's not to say that I'm perfect, but nothing is really wrong with me. I don't really have any outstanding red flags, at least not that I'm aware of. Not that any girl has made me aware of anytime recently. So why did she feel the need to ask me that question? I don't like to assume, okay? I don't like to make generalized assumptions. I know I've pretty much been doing that this entire video, but I'm just doing this to illustrate a point. Okay, the reason why she asked me that, at least based on what I personally perceived or what I gathered from that situation, Before she ghosted me, mind you. Like I said, the date went amazing. She followed up the next few days, and then she just got distant. She ghosted me. Personally, I believe that the reason why she did that in particular, and I'm saying her because she's the only girl I went on a date with. I think the reason why she did that is because she was intimidated by the fact that I love what I do. She was intimidated by the fact that I genuinely love what I do. And she told me herself that she does not love what she does. And this is something that I've run into with a lot of women. Is that a lot of them are doing shit that they don't like to do. And every single time I'm genuinely astonished. Okay, a lot of times I just go into Jordan Green life coach mode because I hate to see wasted potential. And maybe that drives them away as well. Maybe me holding them accountable and helping them facilitate the process of getting on their shit puts them off because they're afraid. They're afraid to take that leap of faith. I don't know. But what I do know, okay, the one definitive conclusion that I've derived from this experience is that just because you level up in life does not mean that you're going to get more women.